Well, good morning, everyone. This is John Craig, and you are listening to Let Us Reason Together.
And you're awake.
And I'm awake.
Barely.
Pinch me. Oh, that wasn't even a pinch. Okay, but I'm here and alive, and some of y'all may have missed me this morning. I missed you over there at the war room.
Did you even realize it was going on? Truth. No.
Somewhere in the middle of the show, I heard a voice praying. I heard this voice. I'm like, there's praying going on in my dreams. So
that's hilarious.
So I'm like, oh, I can't wake up. So there's more to that story, but let's get going here because I need to do the introduction because you need to know who we are and what we're doing here. Or I am. Well, I'm going to just go ahead and introduce my co-host that's sitting next to me this morning, my beautiful bride, Miss Sandi Craig. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to have you this morning.
Well, I think I'm it.
You're it. And we had a cancellation, and so James is not able to make it this morning. So, James, we're going to miss you. He's got stuck at an appointment that he's not able to get out of. So
you get the Craigs today.
So it's us, and it's a good day.
I was actually gonna just do it by myself. I was pulling things together to do a Reason show. Remember, I was originally a host of Reason, so
that's right. So you know how to do it.
I'm about to pull something together for Thursdays, but I'm just not there yet.
You are a veteran. You can just jump on here.
And I was going to jump.
Going on.
And then all of a sudden you popped out, and I says, I was planning on doing the show by myself.
Oh.
Nobody wants to do a whole Reason show with just one person, though. But I was going to do it. I was going to do it.
I could have emailed you my script.
You would have been sleeping. That would have been impossible.
Yeah.
But we're here.
So we're here.
And I'm interrupting your flow.
Yeah, it's a flow. So did I say that this is John Craig? I
You did.
And I'm the second day of the week host for Let Us Reason Together with my co-hosts, and today, Miss Sandi. And it's based off of Isaiah 1:18. I say this every week, but let's do it again. Come now and let us reason together, says Yahweh. Though your sins are as scarlet, they will be as white as snow. Though they are red like crimson, they will be like wool. And you know what? It's a good time of the year because we're getting ready to enter into the feast season. I think we're here. We're here. I mean, we're just like getting ready to have Seder, Passover, unleavened bread.
Are we going to be broadcast?
And are we going to broadcast? We hadn't completely just made that decision, but honestly, I thought we would. I kept asking you.
That's not what I'm asking.
If we're going to broadcast the Seder?
Are we broadcasting the Seder with just us or with Lamb? Because Mark wants us to do it.
Mark wants us to do it. So if we're going to do it, just stay tuned because we may be live at our Seder.
Our Seder's a big deal.
You're on the land.
I know that sounds weird, but it takes a while because we have a lot of fun.
We do have a lot of fun.
There's been throwing of flour and all sorts of course, are you going to dress up this year? We usually have this big table where, I was about to say pastor, where John dresses up, and we have 11 other men that dress up, 12 other men, and y'all sit at this big table on stage, and that's fun. I love that.
On the ground.
On the ground, that is. You're sitting at a table that's
on pillows.
On the ground.
On pillows. And by the way, this thing right here is a result of Pesach.
Several years ago.
Yeah. I was asked, can you grow a beard like 10 days before?
I did. I said, how fast can you
grow a beard? I'm like, was it? No, it wasn't even 10 days. I think it was maybe a week.
I asked you and Jonathan to both grow a beard.
And I'm like, yeah, I can get it going. It's going to look kind of stubbly, but.
Because you had previously shaved it off because you look like Bushman.
Well, I did.
You looked at yourself and you said, "Man, I look old." Well, you let it go to like this.
Like that. But if you took a comb to it and did it backwards, you could make it really look puffy, kind of like I put my fingers in the socket.
You do that. Well, maybe not, but
I don't put my fingers in the socket. I don't do that, but I do.
I have no idea. I just know that when it comes to that stuff, yeah, who knows?
So we have a lot of fun. So stay tuned because we hadn't made that decision to how or what we were going to do, but here we go.
We're gonna talk about it here.
Well, we could broadcast it on. I don't know. We could broadcast it and then we could duplicate it. All right, I'm just going to go on here. All right, this is where we sit down because I didn't get my paragraph in. I like getting my paragraph.
Okay, I'll be quiet.
All right, so because I like to say I have it printed out specifically because this is a.
Do you want me to go sit in the corner?
No, you're not. You're not in trouble. Okay, so where we sit down and reason out current events, cultural shifts, and of course this week's Torah portion, we can either push back or we can push through. And nevertheless, if iron does not sharpen iron, sparks will never fly, let alone ever get a fire going. Without a little heat and a good midrash, how will our hearts ever get soft and moldable enough to be transformed in the way that the Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, wants us to be? Okay, I got that done. And this is April 15th. If you're wondering, it's the year 2019 on the Gregorian calendar, and it is the 10th day of the first month of Aviv in the Hebrew year 5779. Some people going, I thought you were going to say Nisan. Well, I think the Bible says it's called the month of Aviv. That's what I'm calling it right now. So not to be offensive to anybody out there. We're just going with it. Just go with it. All right. So what is today? Well, it's funny selfie day. Oh, my camera's not on. Okay. What? Were you trying to get out of the picture? You're trying to get out of the picture. That's a funny selfie. There you go. All right. It's funny selfie day. It's losing your composure day.
Losing?
Losing.
Wow. I've never losed my composure.
Have you been losing?
No.
Have you ever done the luge?
Have you?
No, but it looks so fun.
It looks like it could hurt if you fell.
The luge.
It's fast.
It's like laying on your back at 80 miles an hour going down an ice tunnel.
Not me. Not you.
A half tunnel.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Not happening.
Just think. All it takes was one little move and you can just slip right out of the side. That's the luge. All right. Fighting against your quirks day. Is anybody quirky today?
You are.
And I'm fighting it. It's just not happening. And then it's provocation of modest jealousy day. Or whatever that is. I scratched the next one out. Let's go to it's Boston Marathon Day. It's certain circles call it Holy Monday because it's six days before the celebration of Ishtar. Some people, I don't mean to be mean, but it's Easter, which is translated from Ishtar, but it's been translated and it's been Christianized, and so they call it Easter. Resurrection Day is what some others people call it. I'm going to get out of this hole. Let's move on. It's Income Tax Payday. It's Jackie Robinson Day. It's McDonald's Day. Dun, dun, dun. And it's, what is that for? Micro Volunteering Day. It's National, I'm going to skip that one. It's National Gripers Day. National Gripers. Do you know what National Gripers Day is, Miss Sandi? It's when you're allowed to gripe about those things that they're just annoyances. And so you just say, kind of like, who didn't put the cap back on the toothpaste?
I've never heard that.
All right. Because I always put the cap back on the toothpaste. Who's been squeezing the toothpaste from the middle of the tube?
You've told me that.
They have. I griped. I don't know if it was on April 15th. Day though. So now we both have our own toothpaste. You've been using that powder stuff.
Honey, I've been out of the powder stuff for 3 months and I've been waiting on you to give me more.
Then we need to make that happen, don't we? It's National it's National Rubber Racer Day. Rubber Eraser Day. I put the E on the wrong word.
Is that what happens at 5 o'clock in the morning when you're?
That's worse than dyslexic. It's taking one letter from this word and taking another letter from this word and swapping them. How about this National That Sucks Day? It's Patriots Day. Take a Wild Guess Day. Titanic Remembrance Day. Yeah, it was at this day at 2:27 a.m. that the Titanic went down after it hit an iceberg at like 3 hours prior to that. I mean, it went down fast. And it's World Art Day. So things are being observed this week. They do call it Holy Week in certain circles. It's National Library Week. Sandy, you and I were talking about library. Were we talking about library, or was I just dreaming that?
It wasn't me.
There was a day and time that we didn't have internet. And if you wanted any information, we went to the library. Do you remember those days?
Oh, we did talk about libraries because, okay, now I remember.
And we'd check out a book, or we'd do research.
I liked going to the library. I liked taking Jonathan as a student to the library.
Honestly, I still like going to the library. I just haven't been in years.
Like 20?
Or more. Here's something. National Grilled Cheese Sandwich Month. I had a grilled cheese last night to celebrate, but I didn't put a candle or anything on it.
I'm hungry.
All right. I asked you if you wanted me to make you a grilled cheese.
I don't want you making me anything.
And then it's National Humor Month. So we're going to have fun today all month long. Next month, I don't know what the month is. So it won't be Humor Month.
By the way, you're going to have to make room for me because I have wacky news that I want to do.
You have wacky news?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Well, okay.
Just keep going.
All right. So, positive quote of the day from Jonas Salk. I have had dreams and I've had nightmares. I overcome the nightmares because of my dreams. Woo. Okay. So there you go. Funny quote of the day. You're supposed to laugh. No, after I do it. So, don't threaten me with a dead fish.
That's not funny.
That's from With Nail and I.
I don't even get that. That's not funny at all.
Yeah, well, it's a quote. Apparently, if you see With Nail and I, you would be laughing.
I don't get it.
Don't threaten me with a dead fish.
Hey,
just give me a grilled cheese.
Do you have Joe's little number? Would you like Joe to join Joe to join us? Do you have her call-in number?
I don't.
Well, you know what, Joe? If you will text me that, we'll stick it in there.
We'll send you an email.
If you will, yeah, just text me on my phone, and I will. Oh, is it just your regular? Of course, if it's just your regular, I've got that.
All righty then. That was going to be.
No, you don't need to worry about that. She's gonna me. You just keep doing what you're doing.
And you can link her into me.
No, I will reach across like this and do it.
Oh, okay. But I might just have it right here. So if it pops up, it didn't.
Do an O.
Huh?
Do an O.
O?
Yeah. Let's just type O. Let me see.
Got an O. All right.
Do a G. I.
No. Not in my
go to your ad. Go to your ad there, not there.
Since I updated my emails, my computer,
go to your invite.
I lost all my contacts.
No. Up.
All right.
There you go.
Okay, let's type her in.
If you've had her in, I don't know if you've requested her. Try it. Oh, John. G. Nope.
All right.
Okay, keep talking.
All right. So, okay, sorry about the silence there. Did we got the funny quote in? Let's do the love quote of the day. You ready to swoon?
No.
This is all right. All right, thank you, Sandy. Anonymous said this. Love makes the world go round. Yes, that was made popular by the 1958 and 1961 songs. There you go. Just a step back into memory in history or whatever?
Well, whenever you're ready for me to do my wacky news, I will do that.
Here.
If you will just type in right there.
I will do that. So,
do you want me to do that? Well, you're doing that?
Yeah.
All right. Well, here is something to learn. Men with beards carry more germs than dogs. A study's found that men with beards carry more germs than dogs, including deadly bacteria in their facial fuzz. Researchers discovered that nearly half of all the Stample beards hosted bugs dangerous to humans' health. The study described dogs as cleaner than the beards of men. Push invite. Okay, so how did you like that news? Breaking news. Breaking news. Men with beards have deadly bugs. How many bugs are in there? Should we pick them out like a monkey?
Let's look. Can we look?
John, that's gross. I'll pick it. You never know what you're going to get, right? There's Joe. There's Joe. Let's get Joe. No, she doesn't have a beard.
She doesn't have a beard.
Yes,
see, that would be weird if Joe had a beard.
You like it?
Welcome, Joe Cameron, to Let Us Reason Together on Monday morning.
That's the second day of the week edition. So,
see, if y'all don't remember, Joe was one of my co-hosts on Thursday.
Yeah.
Yes, I was, and it was fun.
Yeah, y'all had a good show.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, we're moving through. We're just
okay. Keep going. I'm sorry, interrupted.
We're moving through. We're just getting through it slowly. So, all right. Hey, things that happened on this day in history. In 1817, the first American school for the deaf opens in Hartford, Connecticut. Isn't that interesting? How about this? 1865, Abraham Lincoln dies 9 hours after he was shot attending the play Our American Cousin at Ford's Theater in Washington. Wow. It was this day in 1865. Also, in 1878, Harley Procter introduces ivory soap. Who's the ivory soap user out there? I don't use ivory soap, but that's not too.
I did back, I think.
Back in a certain time.
Maybe.
I can't use ivory soap. It makes my skin break out.
Me too.
Yeah.
You're such a sensitive boy.
It's just one of those things. Just is. There's certain soaps that do that. And so I don't know. I think it's because it stays on my skin and it makes little bumps and they itch. There you go. There's my story. And then in 1912, I'd already talked about the RMS Titanic sinks at 2:27 a.m. And there was like 1,490 between 1,490 and 1,635 people that died. I guess they don't have an exact number, but while the band played on.
That's just, anyway.
And this is why it's McDonald's Day in 1955. You know the guy Ray Kroc?
No.
That's a crock.
That is not why that saying came up, John. You are completely incorrect.
The Kroc family is probably not watching right now, so there's no reason for them to be offended. But if we're always just like 6 people away from knowing somebody, like 6 people away from knowing.
What was it? So many degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon, yeah.
9 or 7 degrees.
It's like 6
no,
degrees.
It was not 6. Was it 6?
It was 6. Yeah, I just heard that, and that's why he brought it up. But he opened the first McDonald's Incorporated fast food restaurant in where? Des Plaines, Illinois. Des Plaines.
No, you're doing it wrong. Des Plaines, boss. Des Plaines.
There you go. I love it. All right, and then of course one last thing, because this is Humorous Month. In 1975, it was the first appearance of who? The San Diego Chicken.
Yeah, it was. That's what we would do when, yeah. You can tell I was raised in Southern California, right?
There you go. So we're having fun this morning. Hey, it's birthdays, famous birthdays. Leonardo da Vinci.
Vinci.
Yeah, he's just Italian, but you take the Italian out. All right, we got Joe Cameron on here.
Really, you're changing the stomach for your faux pas?
Yeah, we got Joe Cameron on here, by the way. Good morning, Joe. She's Italian. She's got an Italian background.
No, Espanol.
Espanol. Oh, I thought it was
Spain.
Italiano. My mother sounds like an Italian in her accent. The Spanish and the Italian, their accents sound the same.
I was trying to always figure this out. If you were from Italy, why did you keep speaking Spanish?
John, would you just get back on your stuff? You're way off.
Leonardo da Vinci. All right. And who is he? A painter, scientist, and visionary. And so he lived to age 67, and including he had designs for the flying machines, a tank, concentrated solar power, and an adding machine, the double hull, and a theory of plate tectonics.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought that was just interesting. He was born on this day in 1452. So Nikita Khrushchev. Oh, those Russians. The Russians are back. Yeah, Nikita Khrushchev. I just thought it was interesting. He died at age 77 in 1971 of a heart attack, but he was responsible for the de-Stalinization of the Soviet Union. And he actually condemned Joseph Stalin when he took over. He said, that was a bad dude. Okay, a lot of things happened under him, but I'm not celebrating communism.
Emma Thompson is 60 today.
Who?
Emma Thompson.
Emma Thompson. I saw her name pop up the list. I didn't know who she was good enough.
Yeah, you do. She's been in a lot of movies.
Yeah, I just I'm not going to celebrate that.
All right.
So, how about some lighter? Since we've been talking about all this heavy stuff, we're going to talk about the lighter side of things.
We've been talking about heavy stuff.
So we're going to jump.
Did you just snort?
It did.
Snort again.
No. You might get that later on. So let's jumpstart our brain. Some wit for the day. And let's untwist your brain with points to ponder. What are you doing to me?
Trying to make you snort.
So here's some funny news headlines that have been on. So we might say this is cue to laugh. All right. This is one headline. Something went wrong in plane crash, expert says. We're pausing for that comedic response.
There was nothing funny.
I didn't get anything.
There.
All right, I can't hear the people over there.
I'm seeing an emoji going, oh, like what? Really?
Right? So these are dumb headlines.
These are
dumb news lines. These are dumb.
It says funny news headlines.
Dumb.
Okay, here's one. But these are real headlines that they pulled off of real. I don't know if they're real
this one,
newspapers.
they're stupid.
All right.
They're stupid. I'm reading them right now.
All right. Cold wave linked to temperatures. Dun, dun, dun.
Really?
Yeah.
Somebody would actually put that as a headline?
Must have been a millennial. All right.
Must have been What's that lady?
No, I just lost all of our millennials.
Okay, what is that lady's name that you it would be, because she says stuff like that.
OAC, occasional Ocasio,
Cortez.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Yeah, which I say Alexandria.
No.
Occasional Cortez.
No.
Okay. All right. How about this one? Typhoon rips through cemetery, hundreds dead.
Okay, that's funny.
Typhoon rips through cemetery, hundreds dead. They found a bunch of
dead bodies,
cemetery? Decaying bodies, and bones.
Think about that. That's really dumb, because there's no people walking around putting houses on top of graves. That's really.
All right. How about this one? Juvenile court to try shooting defendant.
Huh?
Juvenile court to try shooting defendant. It's all on the emphasis. It's juvenile court to try shooting defendant.
To try, to try.
Oh, court. It's a court. Court
instead of to try shooting. Okay.
Yeah, to try shooting defendant. Well, he was duck and cover there. Tried. Ever try? Ever try?
Keep going.
All right, I won't go if we say something. Don't try, do. Okay. War dims hope for peace.
No,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah. War dims hope for peace. Okay, here's the next one. If strike isn't settled quickly, it may last a while.
That's dumb. That's dumb.
Did that come from Ohio?
It could have. I actually got this from a British website, but
you like British humor,
but it could have come out somewhere. I laugh at British humor.
You love British humor. I don't get it most of the time.
So there's this show called Sherlock that's on Netflix, or is it Amazon or Netflix?
Netflix.
It's Sherlock, and
it's not funny.
It's British, and it's hilarious. And Sandy's like, I'm sitting here laughing and laughing and laughing, and she's like, this is really
depressing.
I'm laughing. She's like, you don't get it. This is hilarious. All right, you're too far removed from.
Maybe I didn't grow up in Europe.
Your English heritage.
No, it's not a European thing. No, English humor, even the Spaniards are like, what?
I think it's hilarious. I used to watch this guy that was this comedian, and I would catch him. This is when I lived in Norway. I was growing up, and I'd either catch him on the radio, or I think that's how I listened to him all the time. Well, when my parents, in my senior year of high school, we were living in Norway, my dad got transferred to the Ivory Coast, and so he spent some time in London in preparation to go to the Ivory Coast. I think he was there it was a few weeks, and so my mom and I joined him over, I think it was Thanksgiving break. Yeah, we're chasing a rabbit trail, but this is just my story on British humor. So I'm there, and like, this comedian was live. Like, if you have like on New York City where Broadway is, and you have all the big theaters. Well, London's got all the big theaters and stuff. Well, he was live, and I got a ticket to go hear this guy. The guy had missing his middle finger, and I don't know how he lost his middle finger, but he sat there on stage with a glass of brandy and a cigarette, a stool, and a little table that he sat it on, and I laughed for 2 hours. I went by myself to this theater in London to watch this guy because I thought he was so funny, and he was live as well. He was. That's my story. All right, let's move on. Okay. Enfield, that's in London. Enfield couple slain. People suspect homicide.
Police.
Yeah, police suspect homicide. Enfield. Yeah. Oh. All right, I'm switching words around. Enfield, and they're switching around in my brain. Enfield couple slain. Police suspects homicide. Yeah. Good way to go, police. Good job. All right. Red tape holds up new bridges. Not right. And I'm going on that.
Do you want to go on those bridges?
No, not going on that bridge. And then local high school dropouts cut in half.
Oh, that's bad.
Ouch. There you go. Don't do it. Don't do it. How about this one? Astronaut takes blame for gas in spacecraft.
I knew you would love that one because it has to do with gas.
I'm laughing. It's better now than it was 3 hours ago. I found it.
What? Oh, you got all tickled when you found it?
I did. I got tickled when I found it. But
so you were in?
I didn't know how I would communicate it.
Oh. You're a guy, and you guys get excited when you talk about things like gas or.
If you're liking what you hear, give me a thumbs up on the show today. All right, or give us a thumbs up. And share it on your social media.
Who's responsible for gas in here? I'm joking. There isn't any, but I had to say that.
Moving right along. Hospitals are sued by 7-foot doctors. All right, it's getting better.
He's been in the back bedroom, right? Sucking in laughing gas. Right, Sandy?
Just wait till my voice goes really high. Hospitals are sued by 7-foot doctors.
You snorted again.
I need to take a breath. Okay.
Mark wants to join us. Why don't you invite him in?
Okay.
Before you go anymore, get him in there.
Am I in trouble? What's Mark's email?
I should push Mark.
Okay, here we go. All right.
Hey, well, before we go for it, we can't do any more without him here because Mark will have something to say.
My eyes are burning. I'm crying. I'm tearing up.
And you've released gas?
I did not release gas.
Mark will have something to say.
Yeah, so if you end up seeing dark tears, you know.
I'm crying.
Oh.
I'm tearing up. I see Mark.
And you've released gas? I can see clearly now.
Yeah, so if you end up seeing dark tears, you know.
I'm crying.
Oh.
I see Mark. Feedback from Mark.
I can see clearly now.
You're all fired.
Seeing dark tears, you know.
Okay, we are rehearing everything we just said.
Yeah, because I didn't have my YouTube or my whatever this thing is off there. So you guys are all fired. We can't be having this what do you call it, frivolity going on like this. This is ridiculous. So, no more of that. No more having fun. This is supposed to be reasoning this stuff.
Oh, you're weird, John.
I'm putting on a stoic face.
Yeah, okay. Well, maybe you need blinders.
Stay on track. Stay on track.
I really only wanted to ask one question, but I got enough time. I can actually hang in if you want me to. But I do have a question. Wondering if everybody has their Passover eggs colored yet. We're getting ours done today.
What color are they, Mark? Red?
Oh, all different colors. All different
colors. That's just a flashback into the original Easter eggs. They're all dipped
in blood.
Mm.
Yep, that's sad. That's not humorous.
Well, I take it back.
Okay, but you're gonna do okay. But no,
we won't do any red ones then.
Okay. I wasn't. You said something, but then I just made it really sad. So
you did make it sad. Why don't you tell us one more thing?
One more thing. I got one more headline, guys. One more headline. Real headline.
I don't think it's as good as the last two.
The last two are really good.
Hospitals are sued by 7-foot doctors, and astronaut takes blame for gas in the spacecraft.
Right. So that's the last two, and then here's the last one I have for today. Police begin campaign to run down jaywalkers.
It's funny, but it wasn't like those others.
It wasn't like the others. Okay. But what are they going to do? Are they going to wait at corners? They're going to pull out, and then.
It's all in the wording.
All in the wording. That's right, Mark. Got to work on that delivery. But after all, it's humorous month and we're having fun here, right? Which means the pressure's on for next week too.
It's humorous month.
Yeah, it is. It's humorous month.
The 1 month out of the year we actually get to laugh then, I see.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I thought he was talking about the bone, the humorous.
Hi, Joe.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. And yeah, I boiled a couple of my eggs.
Did you? You burled them?
I burled them.
Uh-huh. Okay, cool.
They're
Sorry,
just
John. Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right.
Sorry, I seem to have brought the whole thing down.
No, you haven't.
Add into the frivolity.
We're adding flavor. We're adding flavor and
do you have something funny to
dimensional
say?
flavor this time from North Carolina because we're missing James today. So instead of South Carolina, we got North Carolina.
Call me JR.
JR. All right.
Well, I have something interesting, something dumb. If you wanted to think about dumb people.
Okay.
Wacky but true. Men are arrested for cutting down cell phone tower. 3 men were jailed in Alabama on charges that they cut down a cell phone tower and tried to sell it or to saw it up to sell it for scrap. Yeah. Washington County officials said a worker cutting grass for the tower company reported it had fallen, but the inspection of the site revealed the guy's wires had been cut. Deputies began watching the area and the residents called reporting noises. Anyway, the deputies have found 3 men.
Well,
Would you ever try to cut down a cell phone tower for scrap?
No.
That's weird. I mean, that's metal. That's
well, you've seen those cell phone towers that are like in New Mexico and Colorado where they disguise them and stick them in the middle of maybe a neighborhood and they make them look like an evergreen tree?
No, I've not seen
that. Oh, yeah, sure. As a matter of fact, Charlotte, North Carolina has several of those.
Yeah. So what they do is that way they can stick them in someone's backyard and they can get radiated without feeling like they're. It's true. I mean,
don't live by a cell phone tower, folks.
Do not live within a half mile of a cell phone tower because of the radiation that comes out of them.
Always on a positive note, are
Well, I'm trying to figure out how they didn't get shocked or electrocuted by sawing this thing.
There's a lot of power.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they got arrested.
So it's like look around for men with their hair sticking up, right?
Exactly. That's when the beard goes bad. Probably fry all those bugs.
All the bugs that are in the beard. Did you hear my news? Did you hear my news about beards and bugs?
Mark?
Beards and bugs? No, I'm sorry. I've been busy, but I knew you were short some people and tired, and so I thought I would say.
Well, I'll just repeat it. A study showed that they sampled the beards, and the beards host bugs that are dangerous to human health. And they said that the dog is cleaner than a man's beard.
She was eating out of my beard earlier.
I'm sorry, Sandy. I missed that. Read that again. I was busy.
He's looking for breakfast.
He's looking for breakfast.
Second breakfast.
Second breakfast.
Breakfast, second breakfast, lunch, tea, supper, dinner. What else?
I don't remember.
Lord of the Rings type of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Second breakfast.
Sean Astin always had fourth breakfast or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. That means it's almost like you're constantly eating if you have four breakfasts.
We took a lot of time.
Oh.
Yeah, we're late.
Are we ready to jump into the Torah portion? I mean, that's like one of the main reasons why we reason together is the Torah portion.
Well, we just sort of took up the whole time, but I wanted us to focus on the blood. I don't want to, we've so many years we talk about Passover. I don't want it to get tired, but let's focus a little bit on the blood, because Exodus 12:22, and you shall take the bunch of hyssop and dip it in the blood that is in the basin and strike the lintel and the 2 doorposts with the blood that's in the basin, and it goes forth from there.
Hey, can I just say something real quick? That really links. It's this week's Torah portion, but last week's Torah portion with dipping the bird in the blood and the hyssop and all that stuff and sprinkle it on the leper. Okay, go on.
Yeah, we talked about that on Torah Among Friends.
Yeah.
John, it's your show, man. You don't have to say. Can I say something real quick? Dude.
She gets a flow. I don't want to interrupt that flow, and so
that's all right.
Well, we need to remember that these apotropic rites were common among the pagans as well. We think that this was just brand new. Well, even the pagans used to put blood on the doorposts. because I know it's wild, isn't it? Isn't it wild? So they would put blood on their doorpost to ward off the demons, because they, blood represents life, and cut blood runs out, so life runs out. And so it was similar to the idea of Halloween and All Saints Day. The dead spirits would come up and wander, and bowls of food and undead would eat and leave the people alone. So that's what happened then, but they would put blood on their doorposts to ward off the demons. Now, what I want to say is just there's so much life in the blood, because it's all about the blood of Yeshua, and the blood of Yeshua is amazing. And we're going to sidetrack here, because I had somebody ask me a few weeks ago. They said, how did the blood of Yeshua cover, and they used the word cover, the sins for all of us for all time? Well, first off, there was an exchange. But when you look at the blood of our Messiah and we compare it to the blood that runs through us, there are so many similarities. Yeah, I'm talking similarities, lots of them. Because the blood of the person, we know there's life in the blood. And we also know, as you've said before, that you can have your blood drawn here or blood removed or an organ, but specifically we're talking about the blood. You can have it here or be sent off to Australia or something, and it's going to interact the way you're interacting right here. It's like there's no distance, because there's life in the blood. Right. That should give you hope, because there's life in the blood of the living Messiah. Yeah, hallelujah for that. Life in the blood. So,
which is interesting. We cannot be separated from our blood can be separated from us, but time and distance keeps it alive. I mean, in spite of the time and the distance, it'll still stay alive as long as we're alive, and they don't like pour it out or anything, as long as it's preserved.
Exactly.
That's just really awesome.
It is awesome.
And that how that works is like you can be sitting there and you can have a certain stimulus. Like they've tested this. Someone's watching a scary movie and they're frightened, and the blood all the way across the world in Australia will respond as the person is responding. I just think that's totally amazing.
Well, we know the blood covers every cell. It literally washes through us. And when we think about the blood of our Messiah, and I know you know this, but it parallels with what is happening in our bodies, because the bloodstream is feeding and cleansing each cell in our bodies. And it acts sort of like a post office carrying special biochemical messengers to destinations within us. But because scripture says life is in the blood, we know that it washes us from our sins, it redeems us, it gives us makes the covenant alive, and that new covenant, so to speak. It gives us eternal life, and a payment for it covers that, it exchanges for that penalty of sin. It's our justification. It draws us near. That's what we talk about when we talk about the sacrifices. Sorry, there's a cat in the way. And it also gives us the power to overcome. If you would look at the blood vessels in us, they're 100,000 miles in length. If you would take every blood vessel out and line it up, 100,000 miles in length, and it would circle the equator 4 times, just the blood vessels in you. That is amazing. Mark's looking. But we've got to remember, just as the blood never stops working, the blood is constantly cleansing. When that blood was put on the lintel on the Passover, it was literally, is when you look at the word Pesach, it's like jump or hop, that Messiah was hovering with us while he was taking care of everybody that didn't have the blood on the doorposts. But we've got to remember, here's where the kicker is that every cell in the human body is dependent upon the bloodstream. Every cell, its nourishment and its life. And it's the same with us as believers. That's why it's so important that we're united. We try to divide ourselves. If a cell divides itself from the body, it's dead. It has no purpose anymore. And with the body of Messiah, he designed us so that all of us are dependent upon each other. It's about his blood, because his blood brings forth life. Yes, we saw the blood of the lamb posted on the on the doorposts, but it's the blood of the lamb that brings forth life. And do we all know this? Yes. But if the study is so fascinating, it would take a lot of time, but go into each aspect of what the human blood does. Maybe we'll do that one of these days on walking, and you compare it to what it happens in the body. It's so amazing. It just opens your eyes to the amazing power of the blood of Messiah. And in Messianic circles, we sometimes forget about the blood. We talk about a lot of things, but not about the blood. It's about the blood. It's about him. It's about Yeshua, his lifeblood. You know, when we divide ourselves and we try to do our own thing, ultimately it just brings death to the body. But when we realize as individual believers that we're cells in the body and that we're washed in the blood and that there's an exchange that's happened, that it is our provision. The blood is our provision. And we can't look at are there blood things that go on in the demonic world, in the world of evil, and those that come around? Absolutely. But none of that blood matters. None of the blood matters. It's only the blood of Messiah that saves, redeems, set free, causes us to overcome, brings forth life where there is death, brings forth something new, and keeps us going. And that is why it's so important that we are always walking together. We're walking together, arm in arm, and as one. Like, what is the movie, The Gladiator? Was that a movie?
Yeah.
And it was As One. I never saw it. Mark probably did.
It's a good show.
Never saw it, but I know that it's been used. They would come as one, put their shields up as one. They would move and they would be victorious.
Yeah. Gladiator, good show. As one. And you know, when we think about it, our one body, but it's that one blood, and it's where we truly I have a cat all over me right here. But Echad is where we become Echad. So,
but think about this. In the human body, when blood fails to feed any part of the tissue, whether it's microscopic or a big area, what happens to that tissue?
It dies.
So when we fail to take hold of Yeshua,
we will die.
And we die.
Yeah.
You know, it saddens me that there's people that walk away from Yeshua. They start pursuing the Hebraic roots of their faith, and they get caught up in Judaism and convert to Judaism, and they walk away from Messiah, and that's just very sad to me when someone would do that.
Well, you know, blood can be tainted. For example, my father went through lymphatic leukemia, which is a blood disorder, like a blood cancer. And what they did is they gave him a transfusion that was clean blood into his body and brought forth more white blood cells because his white blood cells were weakened, which white blood cells are soldiers. They're the ones that protect us, just like Yeshua's blood protects us. And you have also the O2, the hemoglobin blood, and that brings the oxygen, which also can represent, and you've been talking about, you're going to do this probably on Walking in Spirit and Truth. Oxygen, I see it as the Holy Spirit, you know, because the wind, the oxygen, you need that breath, and water has to be brought forth in that body as well. And the blood brings forth the water that's needed to the liver, the kidneys, the heart. Even the lungs need a little bit of water in it, you know, and the brain. So there's the living water within the blood. And what happens is a non-believer, their blood is tainted, but then the Father goes and does like a transfusion of his blood within us, and that blood cleanses and battles within us so that we could have the blood, the true living water, the true living.
Oh, Joe, you just got muted for some reason.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Anyway, so, you know, so we have that true living water and everything of Yeshua. So what happens is during the time we're still on this earth, so we're going to have a lot of battles within us. So we have those warriors within us that are going to do the battle if we let them. And if we do not have that living water and Yeshua's blood within us, like we said earlier, we will die spiritually, just like a part of your body. If the blood is not going to your big toe, for example, and you're not getting that blood supply to that big toe is going to end up rotting and falling off and dying. And it's the same with the blood as well. It helps all the body, and every blood cell is an individual blood cell. Well, his children, us, we're individuals, but we work together for the good of the body. And leukemia, when you have this leukemia, the blood cells fight against each other. And this is something that I see happening in, congregations, churches, and everything, and today. But we can come back and be transfused by him and be cleansed. So
yes, that's very interesting, because the fighting of the blood together. Wow, that's just a lot of times people, when you have that fighting within a congregation, instead of using that as an opportunity to mature and to grow, they just leave and they go, they'll start their own group, or they'll go to another group, or they just never come back again. They just disappear. And that's really sad, because that's what Hasatan wants us to do, he wants to kill us. He wants, by dividing. And which also, Joe, you brought up something about those blood transfusions. We had a gentleman that he required I don't know how many blood transfusions that he had since from the time that we knew him, but he had some type of rare blood disease, and it would require him to get blood transfusions. And when you put someone else's blood in your body, he said there for about a week after he gets someone else's blood, he will have like weird dreams and nightmares and all sorts of stuff, because there's stuff attached to the blood.
Absolutely.
Yes, that's true. But one thing that he probably forgot to do that my family did is, before the transfusion, we always prayed and asked the Father to block that.
Yeah.
But my father did have cravings of things he's never had. In fact, things that he doesn't like. He was like, I was craving things. I ain't eating that. And he was craving things he did not like at all. It was some really unusual things, but he did not get the demonic things, because he made sure that he prayed, and
that's good.
More were together before that happened, because we wanted to make sure we didn't have that issue. So yeah, I agree that happens.
That midnight craving for escargot. Mark,
no, it was Brussels sprouts.
Yeah,
that's all right.
I love Brussels sprouts, but Dad doesn't like them. So anyway,
just don't boil them.
Ugh,
yeah,
no.
Just don't boil Brussels sprouts. They smell at the house. Mark, what are your thoughts on the blood? Mark, you're muted.
Oh, are you talking to me? I'm JR today.
Oh, JR.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had my hand up because Joe was talking about a foot falling off. I was wondering if she. No, actually, my thought is that there's power in the blood, power in the blood. No, there's life in the blood too. Everybody sing. No. And I also want to say that there's no blood on my lentils. Be sure everybody knows that also. So, and Sandi was talking about how the pagans did the same thing, putting the blood over the doorpost. Do we consider, what do we consider a pagan? Then were pagans before the children of Israel was in Egypt, or do we consider that? Yes,
it was before that time. In other words, it wasn't something new.
What's that?
When the children of Israel put blood there, it's not something that was brand new to the time.
Right. So there were societies all over the place doing that, and so to compare doesn't make any difference. I mean, in my book, if it was God's command that they do that, God wasn't doing that because the world did that. God had his specific reason for doing that, just the same as anybody else does, and that doesn't match up, but I get what you're saying. I'm just saying that, there's always a specific reason, no matter what religious society or belief system or whatever. It's got to do with that individual belief system's reason for doing that. And we all do know that there is no other God on this planet. There's little gods, but those little gods are what's made up in a society's mind or an individual's mind. And so to me, I always keep track of the fact that it's it's our God. I mean, it's the only God that there is the only one true God. And so whatever he puts forward has no bearing on any other belief system and what they do. But you're right, they did. It's just that I find, and I've had feedback from people, that when you compare something that our God commanded and we bring forth that other belief systems also did the same thing, which is true. And it's good to do this, but to clarify, because a lot of people will start thinking that, and they do, because so many people's minds just go everywhere. It's like, well, so what was God trying to say to these other people? It wasn't God trying to say something to these other belief systems. And so I've heard people say that, I do get, for instance, like the plagues. The plagues were there because he was dealing with the individual little gods of that society. And it's the same thing when he gave Torah at the mountain. It is recorded in, history, or I can't think of what it is, but it's recorded that around the world, all societies, all belief systems knew that this had happened at that time. And so, yeah, God can do it, but it doesn't necessarily mean an individual instance means that.
Well, I think we forget that I believe Torah was spoken out at the beginning, because there was light, and light is Torah. So the Torah has been there all along. And we keep thinking that God's in this linear timeline, and he's not. So in reality, it is all these other cultures are still counterfeiting what he has put forth. And so
true. It is true. It's just important that we clarify.
I agree.
When we make specific statements, because in the 26 years that I've been walking Torah, I have heard so many people take a statement, just a blank statement made like that people, and I'm not saying that what you said was wrong. I'm just saying that I have learned over the past that I make an overemphasis of clarifying that it wasn't necessarily God patterning after something else that another system had done.
I would, I understand what you're saying, Mark. I think, and I was thinking about what you were saying, what Sandi was saying, and I was thinking, how interesting it is how that Yahweh would use a concept that the people of Israel wouldn't go, oh, that's weird. Why would I do that? But it's a concept that, like, okay, I understand putting blood on the doorpost. I understand it. But in this context, a specific reason that it had to be the blood of the lamb that they had brought into their house for 4 days. And that it was that lamb that they slaughtered, that it was that lamb that they took the blood and put it in that little vessel and took the hyssop and put it on the doorpost. And they understood what people had done before. It wasn't an unusual concept. So therefore, now Yahweh, the King of the universe, was telling them to do this. They've walked through the plagues. It's like, well, we understand that concept, but this time it's for life. It's the protection of life, and it's to protect their family. and for which they were commanded. Now you're going to commemorate this event as well going forth. So this now distinguishes this event above and beyond any other event that had been done by the pagans or whatever. This one was the one that brought life. This is the one that protected the firstborn. And this is the mark of their deliverance that allowed them to leave Egypt. So,
well, can I respond to that real quick?
Yes,
please. Because I actually wrote a book on this, and I did 2 years of research up to this point based on a lot of this. And this is one of the things why I'm trying to say this. Do you believe that the Hebraic people of this time, the slaves of this time, knew there were other pagan belief systems that had done this outside of when they heard God command them to do this? Do you think it's possible? There's no way we could know, but do you think it's possible that the slaves that were told to do this knew there were other pagan belief systems that had done this before?
I think it's possible. I'm going to let you all chime in on that. I think it's possible because
not too long.
Because there was a lot of different.
Too long. Oh, sorry. I'm going to tell you why they did.
There's a lot of people. There was a lot of different people that had come to Egypt, and they brought their belief systems.
That's exactly why. That is why. And that was my whole teaching, is that the society they lived in, which was Quantir and Goshen, Quantir was full of people from around the world that had come to buy grain during Joseph's time. So yes, it's a good possibility, though there's no recording to tell us that, yes, they knew this. But yes, that's why. So good.
And I'm just going to throw in there, if you guys don't know what book he's talking about, it's The Big X. And it is a really good book. I've purchased it. I really enjoyed it.
Go on.
And if you're a homeschooler, it'd be great curriculum as well.
Sorry.
Big X. There you go.
That's
a shameless plug right there.
Hey, John, can I tell you that I miss Sandi?
Yes, you can tell me that.
That makes me feel good.
I miss spending time with Sandi, and also wanted to say the reason that Sandi never saw the movie Gladiator is because it's full of gratuitous violence.
It's true. That's true. But we do have it here at the house.
I mean, it's called Gladiator. Gladiator. There's a reason.
Which is parenthetically gratuitous violence.
Very good.
That's true.
Hey, let's
Sandi, the only reason I watched it is because he was the Gladiator was from Spain.
Oh,
and it was Russell Crowe. That's why you watched it.
In his younger years. Okay. So let's jump into the next segment here. And this is a current event that I pulled off of faithwire.com. And considering that right now the pro-life movie Unplanned is out there, it says almost 100 abortion clinic workers seek to leave industry after seeing pro-life movie Unplanned. This is really good news. I mean, what an impact. It talks about that on this PureFlix movie Unplanned, which is in the theaters right now. He actually went and revealed to Congress this week that nearly 100 abortion clinic workers have sought to leave their jobs after seeing the pro-life film. And during his testimony to the Senate Judiciary Committee subcommittee on the Constitution, Konzelman said 94 clinic workers have approached former Planned Parenthood executive Abby Johnson's nonprofit, and then there were none. I guess that's the name.
That's the name of her nonprofit.
And according to the PureFlix Insider, and it says that the Unplanned movie director says film was made for such a time as this. 1% of the abortion workers in the United States, after getting one look at them being portrayed on film, he said, have decided to change their lives and what they do for a living. Mm-hmm. That is huge. And then it says the PureFlix filmmaker on Capitol Hill was speaking to a panel regarding Twitter's alleged censorship of Unplanned. On its opening weekend in late March, the social media platform temporarily suspended the film's promotional account. And Unplanned chronicles Johnson's 8-year career at Planned Parenthood and her conversion to the pro-life movement after she watched a doctor perform an abortion via ultrasound. So I've not seen it. Sandy's seen it. And
hey, John, I did a movie review on that on the Four Corners news show on March 29th. I did a movie review on that. So if you haven't seen that, you might want to go back and watch that. And shameless plug, but I'm not doing movie reviews on the news show anymore because I'm going to start my own individual show on the Lamb Network doing movie reviews.
Oh, how awesome.
It's going to be called Messianic Mark's Movie Madness. 4 M's, MMMM, Messianic Mark's Movie Madness.
There you go. Hey, so you heard it first right here on Let Us Reason Together. That's breaking news on the Lamb Network.
I want to say about the Unplanned movie, it is hard to watch that baby move around and fight for life as it's being killed and murdered. But we need to see it. We need to experience it, just like we watching Passion of the Christ. No, it's not exactly what Yeshua did. It was probably Yeshua bore far more, but it brings something home, and it makes talking points. It supports something that needs to be fed, not the junk that's out there. And it's a story that's going to change your life. Even if you already are pro-choice, which of course, pro-life, which of course we are, it really helps you put things into perspective. What is really going on behind those doors? And it also brings to mind, I love what they said in the movie, that having people out the wall on this other side of the wall of the abortion clinic praying affects the number of women that come in for abortions that when they're there. Wow. And we want to just stay in our houses and do nothing and pray there? No, go to the wall, folks. Go to the wall.
Wow.
Amen. Yeah, I'm reading the book. There is a book out there as well that she wrote first. And the book is pretty specific about the issue of when the baby was aborted there. But a lot of these people that are working in these abortion clinics, they're not in the back room seeing this. They're in the front doing the receptionist work, the counseling, because they're given a pamphlet of what to say, what not to say, how to say it, be loving and kind. And what, the enemy's counterfeit loving and kind is so different from Yahweh's loving and kind and gentleness and kindness. And so many Christians that do go out and protest, sometimes they do it out of anger, and they start telling that's what they should be doing it out of. But some of them are not. And because I've been to a couple of protests myself at abortion clinics, and there's some Christians that they start just spouting things that are not loving and kind. And that's something we need to stop doing. Stop doing that, because there's a young lady in our family, a friend of mine's daughter, who had a baby out of wedlock. And she's a Christian girl. And a lot of Christians came up to her and says, well, you sinned. You need to get rid of it. That's wrong. That's sinful. That's the enemy speaking forth lies. This is a child. Yes, you sinned. You committed, fornication and all that stuff. You did that. It's done. But the Father blessed you with something. And through that blessing, this girl, she decided to keep her baby, and she decided to raise this baby. He's now 4 months old. And through this baby, she's come back to Yeshua because someone came alongside her with loving kindness and told her that this baby was a blessing and not a curse. That's a problem that we have also in a lot of churches, because in the book, I don't know if it's in the movie, but in the book, she writes that she goes to church. She's a Catholic woman, goes to church, and she's looking around the church, and she can see different people that have come to that clinic. So it's not just non-believers that go to clinics. It's not just.
You're absolutely
right. You're right. Some people would rather cover the shame and the embarrassment of it, and in spite of their biblical belief, and because the shame of going back to a church, pregnant, as opposed to hiding it is more important to
Exactly.
them.
Well,
Yeah.
and I have another friend in high school whose mother was raped and she became pregnant. And many told her to murder this baby.
Mhm.
Well, this baby, she was born and she was loved on by her husband, even though it wasn't his child. He loved on this little girl, and this little girl became a OBGYN, pro-life OBGYN, and she will not in her clinic do any abortions. She won't allow other doctors to come into her clinic to do abortions. She is an activist for pro-life. She goes out there and she knows Abby Johnson, and she's standing firm, and she's a blessing, because that's another excuse. Oh, well, they could have had they could have been raped. Yes, that's a horrible thing that happened to you. But through that, God blessed you with this child, and it's not the child's fault.
And you're right, because the other one is, well, the life of the mother's at risk. And I was told to abort Jonathan because that I would die. There was no way I would live through the pregnancy, and probably he wouldn't either. And I remember saying, if I die, I die. I've already done it once. It's not a big deal.
Yeah,
But
I had the same thing.
I'm not, it doesn't matter. The life of the mother, that issue is a moot point as well, because I found that I was better after having walked through that pregnancy. And you know what? And what a blessing Jonathan has been. But that movie also shows the evil and the lie, how they lie about actually what goes on, how they destroy women, even on the table, and do procedures and never let anybody even know about it, because they don't want to have a bad reputation, because then it might be revealed what actually happens in those abortion clinics. So, Yah is the author of life. We are not the ones that should ever take it away.
Amen.
Yes.
The womb is a very delicate thing. And anything that's not to belong in the womb can damage the womb. And that's what they're doing, is damaging the womb. And I believe that, yes, in some of the clinics, they're doing things they should not be doing, because, and John will get into this with the elitists and everything, that, they're out there to stop us from procreating. They don't want us procreating. The enemy doesn't want the seed to live, right?
That's right. Well, and it's also, when you think about this, with Margaret Sanger, and her whole issue was eugenics, and it was originally set up to destroy the entire black race. I mean, they wanted to encourage it, set it up in these in the black communities, in the big cities, in the inner cities, and get these women to abort their babies and destroy these little baby girls and baby boys, so that they would not populate. And I mean, that's horrible, horrible, horrible. And that's why they still continued to put in new Planned Parenthood centers in the middle of these. They don't put them in the suburbs. They put them in the inner cities. They put them in the communities where
we have Planned Parenthood in the suburbs, by the way.
Well, I'm sure they are, but here in Amarillo, it's right downtown.
Well, it's also right on Bell Street, so that's not.
In Toledo, Ohio, they kicked Planned Parenthood out. The city of Toledo does not have Planned Parenthood in their city limits at all. Now, outside the city limits, there are some Planned Parenthoods, but very few, because this is a big Catholic and very strict Catholic, not, modern Catholic, very strict Catholic community in here, and also Jews as well that are here. And they said, get out. We don't want you. The people voted them out and kicked them out of the city of Toledo. And that's something that each city needs to start doing. Yeah. And I don't know if you saw this, also an article that Planned Parenthood's trying to do is in California. Student ID cards are having Planned Parenthood's phone number on them from age 12, and even wanting to do it in Christian schools, mind you. So we need to today, not just about unborn, but we need to protect our children, period, because look at what they've been passing as well. The killing the baby after it's born. I mean, This is getting crazy. This is almost like the time of, like we're talking about Passover. This is like Pharaoh throwing the children in the Nile. We are doing in this country almost the same thing, but in a different way.
Yes, the celebration of death. Since New York passed that bill and they lit up all the way up to term is horrible, and how they celebrated it with cheers and whatever. What a sad thing. But on the other hand, we see this film coming out and people are disgusted. And then this film comes out, there's state legislatures that are passing pro-life bills, more than we've seen in a long time, because it's all coming to a head. And it is Exodus happening all over. Should we say there's another sign about the time of Yeshua returning, the time of a great deliverance? I think these are all the different signs. One other thing that I just heard recently is that down in Austin, Texas, of course, we're in Texas, but Austin is about 8 hours away by car. They have a Planned Parenthood building that the city of Austin gives to them for $1 a year. And there have been protests going to the city council that Planned Parenthood should not receive a pass in that when they don't give that to other businesses or other people, other corporations or whatever. Why should Planned Parenthood get a pass for $1 a year to pay for their facility?
You're talking about taxes are being paid to Planned Parenthood.
It's a lease.
Yeah.
It's a lease. They lease their building from the city for $1 a year.
$1 a year. Well, they also, Jay Sekulow is fighting this right now. I don't know if you guys know about this, because some of the Planned Parenthoods are also being paid by the states, state tax. State tax. Our money is being paid to murder babies in different states. And at this time, Jay Sekulow and his group are fighting this, because this is, we should not be paying for this. This should not be something, because we need to fight this, people, because this is blood on your hands as well. You pay taxes. Today's tax day. You pay taxes. Blood is on your hands if you don't start fighting this and start telling your congressmen, your governors, and all those that have passed. Because in the state of Ohio, we passed the heartbeat law. It is passed. If the baby has a heartbeat, you cannot touch it.
Yes,
it's murder.
Yep. I just did a recent thing on Four Corners News. I think it was maybe last week's report, and about the Living Waters Ministries has gone out there with their 7 questions, and with those 7 questions, he's been able to get people to switch from being pro-abortion to pro-life. And except there's always those, so their hearts are just so hard, they don't care. But understanding that in that article that I brought out is that the heartbeat begins at 6 weeks. And it can be detectable at 6 weeks.
Detectable. I would say detectable is the word.
So very, very interesting.
But yet still the DNA of the baby can be found in the mother's DNA, and the mother's DNA can be found in the baby. There have been there's even times when they will run a DNA test on a person and it matches a woman. And when they go trying to figure out who they're talking to or who the DNA is for, they find out that this person, this man or woman, and they find the other DNA, it's actually the mother of this person. So even before the heartbeat, it's the mother and the baby are exchanging DNA. So to me, that ought to be the deciding factor, is that right there is probably from inception, you're exchanging DNA.
Yes.
Very interesting.
Which is, these things are working themselves out. I love to see the advancement after all these years since Roe versus Wade, that we're seeing finally some huge steps forward. And it reminds me of something that I think it was Dr. Ted Broer was talking about, how when that egg is inseminated and that sperm and that egg come together, that there's a spark of life. It's like, boom. Well, there's no question. There's life right there. And, you know, all the more reason. It's not just a heartbeat. It's from conception.
Right.
Well, hey, you know, this really brings us to the end of our time of Let Us Reason Together.
Make sure you got the blood on your lentils.
It's blood on the lentils. Everybody go get your lentils this week as you purge the leaven from our homes. We'll replace it with lentils and hyssop.
I love making Sandi smile. That's my whole goal in life, is making Sandi smile. So it was fun this morning, because when you weren't there for War Room, I typed in the site and told Sandi that you should know that the War Room prayers are more important than your job. So you shouldn't let your job interfere with coming in. And she immediately smiled, and I was totally fine, as long as she smiled. That's all I need.
It's all that counts right there. Yeah. So now hyssop is also wild Mediterranean oregano. So we don't have any hyssop around here we can mess with. So we have oil of oregano.
Let me go get mine. Sorry.
Maybe we can shake that together. All right. So this is it's been a good show. I appreciate y'all joining here at Last Moment. Yes, makes the show that much more deeper.
I really thought I was going to do the show by myself without you or anybody else. That's what I thought. That's
not going to happen. Not going to happen. Joe, I'll speak for Joe. Joe and I are available when you got nobody else, right, Joe?
Yep.
Awesome.
Hey, only for you, John.
Oh.
Okay.
All right.
That's because you're our favorite.
You are our favorite. You're our favorite across the board. You're our favorite.
All right. Give me a thumbs up on the show, right? Let us reason together. All right. Okay. But click on the button too.
Sometimes, because I put the news together on Thursdays now and we're not doing Planet, I feel like I've replaced Sandi with you.
Oh.
Nobody
can replace Sandi.
I don't think it's worth it. But go ahead.
I'm not saying that I'm not going to pull something together for Thursdays. I've just been trying to figure out how to put a group together that's not already on every other show. And
yeah, that would be good.
Same people, same show.
Like bring in some fresh meat.
It's like people are saying, this is the Lamb Network, or is this the O'Hare's and the Craig's Network? Because they're on everything. No, no, nobody said that. I'm just joking. It's just as I'm putting things together every week for the next week's shows, it's like, where are all of these? How come I get? There was a time back on Lamb Radio when the board made a decision that nobody could do more than one show, and now we've got several people that are on 40 shows a week. Like, what's up with that? Anyway, it's gotten out of control. Yeah, Sandi, it'd be good if you could put together people that aren't doing anything else.
I just hard because the people I know, I'd like to take my girl back and say, you can't do the shows you're on. You got to be with me. That's what I would like to do. But that would be wrong. Say, you were mine first.
And then I kicked her off. So,
you kicked me off, Mark. I'm joking. No, we didn't. You didn't kick me off. We just changed it, and the planet to be back. And we just it always goes into hiatus.
Planet will be back.
There's nothing like Planet. I mean,
The spaceship is in dry dock.
yeah,
It's exactly needs repairs.
You're good for doing news this week, even though it's tight with Passover and everything, right?
yes,
Okay.
yep.
That's what he loves, Mark.
Can you not
He
do it at 3:00 in the morning?
He will do it at 3:00 in the morning because that's the only time he has.
Okay.
But I'm always looking for those great articles, things that have shelf life, things that do not just get lost in the news cycle after one day.
I know. I'm with you. So, are we still on air? Hey, everybody! How you doing?
Everybody, we're having our own conversation here. Yeah, we should close out.
Yeah,
and then we can still be on air.
Yeah, we can
be with
that.
each other.
All right, so you have been listening to Let Us Reason Together, the Monday edition. Don't want you to forget about tomorrow's edition of the Chameleon Church with Alan Aguirre. So come back and join him and his co-hosts. For that, I want to say be excellent to each other. And until next time, shalom.
We are richly blessed to bring you what we believe is the fullest, most diverse, yet up-to-date progressive teachings, discussion, and prayer programming you can find anywhere on this planet. Be sure to take the tour of the MessianicLambRadio.com website. I'm Susan Hoogie, thanking you for joining us on the Messianic Lamb Video Network.
Don't go away, your show will start after a brief pause.